Good morning, my name's Electric Johnny Hat. I hope you're all well. Well, I just wanted to do a quick talk because I'm going to do a video on Starforts. I did do it last year, and what I did when I done Starforts last year, I done two videos. I done one on a fantasy version of Starforts, pure fantasy, and then I done a sensible version. The sensible version was basically down to what Starforts really were, and they were for defence. They were for defence. Obviously, over the last couple of years, there's been so many false researchers, liars, whatever you want to call it, putting out false information of what they think Starforts really were. But yeah, none of it's been proven. And you keep hearing about these two guys saying they want receipts for this, receipts for that, receipts for this. But, you know, you're going to find the same receipts for things like Starforts, you know, the proper documentation of Starforts. You'll get the same receipts for those as you will. In the same box you'll find receipts for the shape of the Earth. Do you know what I mean? So you don't get receipts for these kind of things because this kind of knowledge is basically really, really hidden. But they were originally defence. They were made for defence, just like a castle are forts. And that's what they were Starforts, and you see by the way they were made. The two guys that recently done the video on Starforts, you know, they done very well on it, and you know, appreciate people being honest and the way, you know, speaking sensibly about stuff, and that's exactly what they're doing. But they have failed to miss out a couple of points about Starforts and how the shape of the Starforts are actually made, and why they made them this way. They failed to mention that at all. And they've looked at old photos going back from, I think it was like the early 1900s, and even though the brick system sort of wasn't built properly of the Starfort, the actual, you know, but the shape was always there. The shape was still there because the shape of the Starforts is the geometry of the crystal that's underneath. Now, this information is coming from a top Russian researcher that many people have used, and he personally has given me permission, YouTube, to use his information. I've asked him many times when I've used his information, parts of his videos, and he's been absolutely fine. He said, Johnny, you can take whatever you want. I don't mind, I really don't. All it's about is spreading information. Now, this guy is absolutely fantastic, a Russian researcher. His name is Global Vision, and he's absolutely amazing. So I'm going to do another video today on Starforts, and just so people can see why they done the print of the Starforts in that way, the shape of them, because it was built on the geometry of crystal underneath. They failed to mention that. They never went that far deep into it. I think all they wanted to do was keep it simple as a defence system, as a Starfort being a defence system, which is totally correct. There's no denying that. And when I done my sensible version, that's exactly what I said as well. But the fantasy version that I done, it was pure fantasy, and people loved that more than the sensible version. Go figure, eh? This is how people really are. A lot of people don't want the truth. A lot of people just want the fantasy, and then they stick with that fantasy, and they run with that fantasy and expect everybody to, and they do most of the time. They get people to agree with their fantasy versions of stuff. So they loved my fantasy version more than the sensible version. Doesn't make any sense at all, really, does it? But these people are absolutely crazy, to be honest with you. I'm talking about these other researchers that put out complete lies, shills. So I'm just another one of these people. I've been on YouTube for nearly 4 years now. I've never lied. I don't lie. I don't need to lie. And this is the whole point of me going after the shills in the first place, because all they do were telling lies. That's all they were doing. So now I was one of the original persons to bring out the shills, and I did that, and then after that a load of other people started doing the same thing. And when I went after the shills, I mean, these lying shills, when I went after them, and these other two guys, well, one guy obviously who I was working alongside before, he was like, no, Johnny, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about that, you're wrong about this. But actually, no, I was right about everything, and now he's found out. And so when I left the shield thing, he jumped onto it, and he's still doing it now. Even though it's quite ironic, really, that he had a go at me about it, or was quite, not upset, but he just thought I was causing trouble in a way, but I weren't. At the end of the day, we want the truth, and that's all we want. We don't want the lies. We really don't. So that's why I have never lied. I've been so pissed off about bigger channels that have lied, and obviously they've all been pulled out now, so everyone's... Well, a lot of, big percentage of people have realised that they were just liars, and people want the truth. That's all they want, the truth. Nobody wants lies. If you can't find the truth, then you say that you can't find the truth. It's simple as that. But we have to have the truth, or what we believe to be the truth, you know. You can believe in something, but you don't have to lie about it. There's a totally different thing. That's totally different. So I'm going to do a video on Starforts today. It's only going to be a sensible version, because I might even do another fantasy version, because I think that works. Do you know what I mean? So that you've got a 50-50. Even though the fantasy version is fantasy, it will stay fantasy. There's no reality in the fantasy. There really isn't. This is not mythology. And they have the sensible version, which everybody wants. Anybody with any common sense and logic wants the truth. So we push out the truth and not these lies. And that's what my channel's always been about. And I've never once lied. Never. I don't believe in it. So thank you very much. I'm going to do, yeah, I think I will. I'm going to do the sensible version today, where the other two guys missed out a lot of information of how the actual print of the Starforts was done and why they done it in that sort of print, because it was all down to the crystal that was underneath. The same geometry underneath of the crystal, the Starforts were matching the same thing. Every Starfort sits on a knot of crystal. I'll say that again because I've got a lisp. Every Starfort sits on a knot of crystal. Now this is coming from the Russian researcher, Global Vision, and I will put the videos together today of the sensible version, and I will do the fantasy version as well. Thank you very much. My name's Electric Johnny Hat, and I will get that done today. Thank you very much, and thanks for listening.